Union workers and their supporters marched in Boyle Heights to fight for workers' rights and against anti-union groups.
Dreamers gathered at the cathedral downtown as the U.S. Supreme Court made a major decision on DACA.
Students at Stoneman Douglas in Florida are heading back to school on Wednesday. We'll hear how they're feeling. Annenberg TV News is next.
Live from USC, you're watching Annenberg TV News.
Students in Parkland, Florida are returning to school this week. Good evening. I'm Lauren Floyd.
And I'm Addie Stafford.
Students at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High returned to class this weekend, 2 weeks after 17 people were shot and killed at the school. Students and parents were on campus yesterday for the first time since the incident. Some say it still feels surreal.
On one hand, it was nice to see my friends again, who I haven't seen most of them in about 2 weeks, and seeing some of my teachers. But on the other hand, walking past the freshman building and seeing the memorials for the first time, it was a very hard sight to see.
Meanwhile, an investigation of the Broward County Sheriff's Department is underway. State Representative Bill Hager wrote to Florida Governor Rick Scott calling for the resignation of Sheriff Scott Israel. Israel says the letter is full of false information.
I wrote a letter back to the governor. I talked about all the mistakes that Hager made in his letter. It was a shameful, politically motivated letter that had no facts, and of course I won't resign.
Students are taking matters in their hands by protesting gun control laws. A national walkout scheduled for March 14th has already garnered university support. Many schools, including USC, say they will not punish future applicants for involvement in protests.
While the Supreme Court is bringing immigration reform back to the forefront, talk of guns in the wake of the Florida shooting continues.
Let's check in with Kaylee Wells in the newsroom, who has the latest. Kaylee?
Thanks, Lauren and Addie. The gun debate continues on the Hill today with President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump addressing the Florida shooting at the governor's meeting. Donald Trump criticized the performance of deputy sheriffs during the shooting, saying he would have stepped in without a gun.
I really believe I'd run in there even if I didn't have a weapon. And I think most of the people in this room would have done that too, because I know most of you. But the way they performed was really a disgrace.
An attorney for the sheriff's deputy said today the deputy didn't enter the school because he thought the gunfire was outside. Trump also expressed his support for the NRA, saying people should not fear the organization and that the members are great patriots who will do what they think is right. The First Lady took a different approach, expressing support for the victims and calling on the governor's spouses to help the kids find their voice.
I have been heartened to see children across this country using their voices to speak out and try to create change. They're our future, and they deserve a voice.
Melania Trump also spoke about the importance of staying responsible on social media. Her speech comes after her son, Donald Trump Jr., liked conspiracy theories about the shooting on Twitter. Back to you, Lauren and Addie, at the desk.
A reprieve today for DACA recipients. The U.S. Supreme Court declined to hear the Trump administration's appeal to review a federal order continuing the program. DACA had faced a March 5th deadline for congressional action. Annenberg's Dong Yao Ni takes us to a downtown LA mass to support Dreamers. Sorry about that. We'll see if we can get that for you guys later in the broadcast. But in other news, the USC Engelman Student Health Center is holding events for National Eating Disorders Awareness Week. Annenberg Media's Suji Nam tells us what's happening on campus.
1 in 4 college students has a mental illness, and eating disorders is considered one of them. Today is the start of National Eating Disorders Awareness Week.
You really want to kind of approach it with a lot of sensitivity, a lot of empathy, a lot of concern, and kind of maybe pointing out some of the behaviors that you're seeing that are concerning.
According to the National Eating Disorders Association, someone with an eating disorder may count calories excessively, avoid social gatherings, purge, and exercise intensively. Social media can also impact body image.
If one's self-worth or self-esteem is measured on the amount of likes that I get on Instagram or Facebook, then that's a concern.
USC Student Counseling Services is holding many events throughout the week, and the first one is where students can come up to the booth, note their insecurities, and trash them away.
They can come to student counseling. There are dietitians at Engelmann, so there are options for them.
A lot of times you'll see depression, anxiety coupled with eating disorders, and this is something we want people to know is okay and help them find a safe spot.
U.S. national surveys estimate that 20 million women and 10 million men will have an eating disorder in their lives. For Annenberg Media, I'm Suji Nam.
In recognition of the National Eating Disorder Awareness Week this week, we have a very special guest with us today, the co-founder and actually the president as well of the Body Positivity Club here at USC, Senior Rachel Atherley. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So first, let's get started. And for those people that may not know about the Body Positivity Club here at USC, what exactly do you guys do?
So we're a community and service organization. Our goals are to both promote awareness and a dialogue on campus, and also to start reaching out to organizations on and off campus that help people go to treatment and stuff like that.
Do you guys also kind of hold an open forum for a conversation, that kind of thing as well?
We've tried that before. Right now we're doing more monthly meetings for planning for events. We have events that are themed around certain things every once in a while.
So why did you come here and see that, why did you come here and found this club?
Well, I had an eating disorder in high school, went through recovery, and then was in a club that was dedicated to body positivity and this kind of stuff. So I was very set on joining whatever body positivity club was there at whatever school I was going to go to. And when I came here, which is a really big school, and found that there was none, I was like, I guess I have to start one.
How did that in high school, having that, help you through everything you went through?
Having the group?
The Body Positivity Club in high school that you wanted to, again, continue on to college.
Well, so the club that I did, it was really through the center that I went through recovery with. It was a peer education program. So we went to different high schools in the Bay Area and talked in health classes about eating disorders and body image and healthy eating. And for me, talking about it helped me become more comfortable with it, and talking about it in general. And I think it helped a lot of kids, which I think helped me,
So why, when you came to USC, did you see, especially in LA with social media being so big and Hollywood being so big, why did you see a need for that here?
Well, eating disorders are super common on every college campus. This college campus is in Los Angeles, where there's a very heavy emphasis on looks and super health and exercise, etc. And USC is always on those lists of hottest girls and which college campus and stuff like that. It's a lot of pressure for people. I hear things like, back home I'm a 5, and back home I'm an 8, and here I'm a 5. Yeah, it's different here. It is.
Well, I think it's awesome that you were able to start that. I think it's such an important conversation to have, especially this week. And thank you so much, Rachel, for coming in and sharing with us. Thank you. We really appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right, now let's head back to Lauren at the desk.
Thanks, Addie. Mayor Garcetti and other lawmakers showed their support for a bill to help the homeless.
USC's Roski School of Art is launching a new program focusing on experimental design and social practices.
And we'll find out why dozens of bikes were impounded on campus this weekend. We'll be right back.
Recently, our country has witnessed catastrophic devastation. Hurricanes and flooding have upended lives and livelihoods.
Across this great country, Americans have answered the call.
That special calling that compels us, when others are down, to step up and do whatever it takes.
America's at her best when, against all odds, we come together and lift each other up.
Please donate to oneamericaappeal.org. America needs you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Listen, I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you judge me for having a problem. No one is going to know that I need help. I need help. I know that no one is going to judge me for having a problem. I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you listen.
Bye-bye.
Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably going to turn down the radio too, so you could focus.
right? Probably okay isn't okay.
Right.
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on them.
Bikes are a popular means of transportation on the USC campus. DPS impounded nearly 40 bikes over the weekend, leaving students wondering what happened.
My greatest crime rate of crime is theft of bikes and unattended property. If the rate of impounds go up, the rate of thefts go down.
DPS charges $20 for every impounded bike, and after 90 days of holding a bike, it is sold or given to charity. But one student whose bike was impounded this weekend says DPS should have bigger priorities.
It's, almost as much of an inconvenience for DPS to be taking our bikes as it would be for someone to steal them, because a lot of the times people aren't even going to know it was DPS who took them. So they might not even go get them from the place impounded, so it's almost like DPS is doing the same thing as the criminals taking the bikes.
Above all, DPS encourages students to prevent impounding by taking the time to lock bikes to a bike rack. They also recommend every student register their bike to make it easier to get it back.
USC Roski is starting a new MFA program in design. Annenberg Media's Erica Lee talked to the vice dean and a prospective student about what this means for the future of the art school.
Roski is launching an MFA program in design. This comes 2 years after the entire class of USC Roski's MFA in Fine Arts program dropped out because of curriculum and staff changes.
I know that most of the design faculty that witnessed it, quite a few of us were there during that time, we felt it was really tragic because it's not something that any of us wanted to see with our students.
Roski's vice dean says the fine arts program has improved since 2016, but is completely different from the design program.
The undergrad program has produced a tremendous number of really successful designers. And when I say that, I mean from one coast to the other. And we're hoping the same will happen with the grad program.
Former Roski undergrad and prospective MFA design student Justin Finular plans to come back to Roski to gain more skills and experience.
It allows us to tap into things like pedagogy for those who want to go into teaching of the design practice. And after exploring the real world, you kind of gain new perspectives that were kind of limited in a school setting.
The new MFA in design program will be in a 50,000 square foot space in the Arts District.
Right now I'm standing at the rooftop of At Mateo, a creative office space that will be the home to the new MFA design program at USC Roski.
The first class will enroll for fall 2018. For Annenberg Media, I'm Erica Lee.
Now, it's been getting really cold out, starting to feel like it's actually winter.
I've had to whip out my sweaters, which sometimes I love, but I kind of don't hope that cold weather continues. But let's see. Anissa?
Yes, so after months of wondering where our cold weather is, it's safe to say it's finally here. Right now, it's 49 degrees with 52% humidity, and we can expect rain later on tonight. Now tomorrow in the Inland Empire, it'll be 57 in Palm Springs, 53 hometown Riverside, and in Big Bear, 26 degrees. Now towards the valley, we'll see that Simi Valley is 54 degrees, Northridge 57, and Malibu a low 55 degrees. Now if we head towards USC, we'll see that USC will be 57 degrees, Glendale 59, and LAX 57 degrees. Now for your 5-day forecast, tomorrow we'll see rain, a little bit of drizzle, hopefully not too much, and Wednesday and Thursday, no rain, but it will be pretty cloudy. And then on Friday, we'll see rain again, and Saturday it'll start to warm up. Now over the weekend, the central United States was hit with severe flooding and tornadoes that damaged homes and killed 5 people. Residents of Tennessee and Kentucky were hit with 5 tornadoes that flipped cars, tore roofs off of homes, and had residents holding on against Mother Nature. According to the National Weather Service, a tornado near the Tennessee-Kentucky border reached wind speeds of 135 miles per hour. One Tennessee couple was working on their new home when the tornado hit.
We didn't even have time to hit the closet and get the door shut.
It'll sound like dynamite when all the windows busted out.
Yeah, it's like a dynamite. All I could do was cry and, scream because you don't think you will ever be hit by one.
Since this devastating event, hundreds of volunteers have come together to help clean up and rebuild. This was a devastating event for the Midwest, and they've come together, which is great. So hopefully, they make progress and keep moving forward.
Glad other people were there to help. Thank you so much, Anissa. A reprieve today for DACA recipients. The U.S. Supreme Court declined to hear the Trump administration's appeal to review a federal order continuing the program. DACA had faced a March 5th deadline for congressional action. Annenberg's Dong Yao Ni takes us to a downtown LA mass to support Dreamers.
Worship and prayers are common for a mass. But today at Our Lady Queen of Angels Parish, there is another goal: to help and support DACA recipients, also known as Dreamers. Melody Klingham-Fuss told the community about changes DACA brought to her life.
I know life without DACA, so I had to work low-wage jobs that treated me extremely unfairly, that really messed with my mental health.
She earned her Master's of Nonprofit Leadership and Management at USC in 2017. She said without the DACA program, she wouldn't have achieved it. Others protected under DACA are concerned about being separated from their family members.
Then my baby will be here, but who would I leave it for? All my family is immigrated here, so how can I trust to leave my baby if I am deported and if I am taking these papers away from me?
Today's event is part of a nationwide action to call for legislation for those brought to the U.S. illegally when they were children. Immigration information booths were set up to offer resources, and people were making phone calls to legislators.
Even if Supreme Court's decision gave temporary relief to the Dreamers, activists say it's not enough.
Oh, I think the next step is to really put pressure on Congress to tell them that, hey, this is not enough, that the American people have elected you to come to a compromise and find a permanent solution for this issue, and so that's what we expect our elected representatives to do.
Supreme Court's decision today kept the DACA program in place for a few more months. For Annenberg Media, I'm Dong Yao Nie.
Protesters rallied today as the U.S. Supreme Court hears a case that could threaten public unions. Annenberg Media's Madeline Otterly spoke to workers about the impact the case could have.
Democracy looks like.
More than 100 workers in all kinds of jobs stood united today.
This is a mixed group of people out here. Often we've never met any of these people.
They protested outside LA County USC Hospital against proposed national right-to-work laws. These laws would allow government employees to opt out of unionizing and paying union fees.
The right to work is really right to work for less, because it essentially ultimately will weaken unions.
The protest comes as the U.S. Supreme Court hears arguments for Mark Janus versus AFS-CME. The case challenges the fees collected from non-union members. Janus is not in a union and says he shouldn't have to pay union fees. Right-to-work laws in 28 states allow non-union members to opt out of these fees, but the laws aren't in place nationwide. Workers here say that the laws can lead to smaller paychecks, and those opting out of the fees might still benefit from union negotiations without paying their fair share.
This Janus decision is not only going to affect union members, it's going to affect working people's power.
But supporters of the law feel differently, mainly because of campaign contributions that public unions make, often for Democratic candidates. An attorney representing Janus wrote they hope the U.S. Supreme Court, quote, would simply recognize that the First Amendment protects government employees from being compelled to subsidize union speech, end quote. Opponents say that would threaten the very existence of unions.
Look at the United States was built on unions. This property we're standing on right now, union folks built this. That's the American dream, and we all forget about that.
For Annenberg Media, I'm Madeline Otterly.
Now, there's lots of drama going on in the NCAA.
Yes, luckily we have Mary Page here to give us an update.
And of course, we hate to see USC embroiled in another scandal, but tonight we're diving right into those FBI investigations surrounding two-star USC basketball players. We'll tell you what this could mean for the NCAA, but also our reporter Sarah McGrew caught up with the victorious men's and women's track and field team. And finally, we shed light on a touching moment for the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School hockey team. All of that's coming up next on ATVN.
Hey, you think you're probably sober?
Yeah.
But you're thinking about taking the back roads home just in case. Why would you do that?
Probably okay isn't okay. Call a cab, a car, or a friend.
Good choice.
Every year, 40% of all food in the U.S. never gets eaten.
40%. That's almost half the food we produce.
Food waste is a serious problem. It impacts all of us.
And it's expensive. Your family is throwing $1,500 a year in the trash.
We're working hard to put food waste on the chopping block.
And you can do the same at home.
Learn how to cook it, store it, and share it.
Just don't waste it.
Go to SaveTheFood.com.
After 15 years of smoking, Eva Marie quit. There's a new lung cancer screening that could save her life. You stopped smoking. Now start screening. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
We begin tonight with reaction to the FBI scandal sweeping the NCAA. Junior basketball players Chimezie Metu and Benny Boatwright were named on a list of more than 25 players from 20 schools who are allegedly involved in a bribery investigation in documents released by Yahoo Sports. Yahoo reported that expense reports obtained by the FBI state that people close to Metu and Boatwright accepted payments from ASM Sports, an agency headed by former NBA agent Andy Miller. According to Yahoo Sports, the records show that Boatwright's father and either Metu or his advisor each accepted $2,000 back when the players were freshmen. USC Athletic Director Lynn Swann released a statement on Saturday saying, quote, based on the available documents and a number of interviews, we determined that Chimezie is eligible to play. If additional information becomes available, we will act accordingly, end quote. Swann also said that even though Boatwright is out for the season with a patella injury, the university is still investigating the allegations against him. I spoke with Professor Jeff Fellenzer about what this means for the future of the NCAA.
You'll see a much closer adherence to the rules. I mean, I think there's always going to be corners cut in recruiting, you know, but maybe if it's calling during a dead period or something like that versus actually having money change hands, we could probably live with some of the things that will continue to go on.
Now, Fellenzer also said it will be a while before any real change will happen in the NCAA. Metu, for his part, made the most of his opportunity to play last weekend, leading the team with 14 points and 9 rebounds. The Trojans beat the Utes 74-58 with a win. With this win, they have a solid hold on second place in the Pac-12, as they set their sights on an at-large bid for the NCAA tournament. This week, the men are preparing for a rival rematch against UCLA on Saturday at the Galen Center. Now, last Saturday, the women celebrated their seniors with a 65-53 victory over Colorado. Senior captains Jordan Adams, Sadie Edwards, and Kristen Simon showed up strong for the women of Troy. Simon earned her 4th straight double-double, scoring 16 points and adding 11 rebounds. Junior Aaliyah Mazik just missed a double-double of her own, sinking a game-high 24 points and grabbing 9 rebounds. With this win, USC is seeded number 7 in the Pac-12 tournament and will play Washington State on Thursday. Men's and women's basketball weren't the only Trojans who found victory last weekend. Our own Sarah McGrew has the latest update on track and field.
That's right, Mary Page. Both men's and women's track and field teams were crowned champions at the MPSF Track and Field Championships over the weekend. On top of being the overall champions, 8 Trojans also earned individual titles. On the women's side, Kira Constantine won the 400 meter with a slight personal record of 52.73 seconds. Rai Benjamin took first in the men's 400 meter with a time of 45.96 seconds, moving him up to second on the USC's all-time list in the event. Coach Carol Smith-Gilbert said that early success will only fuel their future competitions.
We can expect the rest of the season to be competitive. We're going to keep shooting for the same goals we've always been working toward, which is execution and effort. We want to make sure everyone is executing to the best of their ability.
USC Track and Field will now begin preparations for the NCAA Indoor Championships in early March. Now from the track to the diamond, let's check back in with Mary Page for an update on USC baseball.
Thanks, Sarah. UCLA baseball takes the diamond tonight for an exhibition match against South Korean team NC Dinos. Head coach Dan Hubbs talked about what to expect from the international matchup.
You're facing a Korean professional team, and so our guys are going to see good stuff, and the pitchers that are going to go in there are going to see a couple guys who maybe have played in the major leagues, and I think that's what we're looking for. and then hopefully that'll lead us into Loyola Marymount on Tuesday before we take our big road trip.
Now the Trojans entered tonight's game coming off a strong win over the Villanova Wildcats yesterday. Freshman first baseman Dylan Paulson hit a 3-run homer in the bottom of the third to put the Trojans ahead. In other news, athletes from Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School were able to bring light from loss yesterday when they won the state hockey title just 11 days after the horrific shooting in Florida. The players dedicated this win to the 17 victims of the February 14th school shooting. The win was significant because they started the day as the lowest seed, but took a pair of victories to ultimately win the state title. Matthew Horowitz talked about what the bittersweet moment felt like for the team.
It's been a rough week for all of us, and hockey for us is more of a stress reliever.
I have no words. Like, this is what we worked for the whole weekend. And
we all just came together and got the win.
We were motivated to come here and win nationals, or to win states and go to Natty.
Now, whether it be by fate or coincidence, the team was given 17 medals for the victory. Those medals are currently draped on the memorial outside the high school in honor of the 17 victims.
Thanks, Mary Page. Next, we'll have some very interesting news about the movie Coco after this.
Don't ignore the subtext. It's on us to intervene in sexual assault. Because we can. Take the pledge at itsonus.org.
Hey, look, it's those guys. Are you good to drive?
I'm fine.
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be?
Go and step out of the vehicle for me.
See ya, buddy. Good luck. So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
Los Angeles is honoring the Disney Pixar movie Coco by declaring February 27th as National Coco Day. The ceremony starts tomorrow at 9 a.m. with City Council member Gil Cedillo. Anthony Gonzalez, the voice actor who played the main character Miguel, will also be in attendance. Coco is Oscar nominated for Best Original Song and Best Animated Feature Film.
Thanks for watching Annenberg TV News. From everyone at Annenberg Media, I'm Lauren Floyd.
And I'm Addie Stafford. You can watch us on the web at uscannenbergmedia.com. Good night.
What a day, ladies, am I right?